ugly when I came in. I was wrong. It is far worse than I expected in terms of the corruption in this game. Every politician dances to the tune of their biggest donor. It's a fact. In my case, that biggest donor is me. I don't report to the establishment in either party, including the Republican Party. I don't report to the super PAC puppet masters. I report to you, the people of this country. That's what it's going to take, somebody who's not bought and paid for by that system. But I think now more than ever, it is going to take somebody from the next generation with fresh legs to reach and lead the new generation of Americans. I'll tell you what's going on amongst young people. I'm 38 years old myself. I'm the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. And I think it takes young people at certain times. Thomas Jefferson was 33 years old when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. And he invented the swivel chair while he was at it, by the way. That's the spirit it takes. But right now, what's going on with young people in this country is we are lost. We're starved. We're hungry for purpose and meaning. At a time in our history when faith in God, patriotism, hard work, family, these things have disappeared. And that leaves a moral vacuum, a black hole in our hearts. And when you have a black hole that runs that deep, that is when the poison fills the void. Pick your favorite one. Doesn't matter what it is. Wokeism, transgenderism, climatism, COVIDism, globalism, Zelenskyism on a given day, depression, anxiety, fentanyl, suicide. These are symptoms of a deeper void of purpose and meaning in our country. It's not an accident that we see these same poisons at the same time. And the way we're going to win is we got to fill that vacuum with our own vision. The left is good at this. They prey on that vacuum. They feed us race, gender, sexuality, climate. And we Republicans, we've grown lazy. We'll sit around criticizing that vision, but without actually stepping up and offering a vision of our own. What do we actually stand for? Individual, family, nation, God. That beats race, gender, sexuality, and climate if we have the courage to actually stand for something. And that's why I'm in this race. I'm done just being a party that is running from something. I'm in this race to lead us to something, to our vision of what it means to be an American, what it means to be a citizen of this nation. To me, it means we believe in those 1776 ideals. Ideals like merit and the pursuit of excellence. That you do get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. That is why I've said that we will end affirmative action and racial quota systems in every area of American life. It has been a cancer on our national soul, and we are done with it. It means we believe in the rule of law, and I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. That is why we will use our own military to secure our own southern border and our northern border too. That's what it means to stand for the rule of law in the United States of America. It means that we, the people, create a government that is accountable to us, not the other way around. That the people who we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government. Not the shadow government in those three-letter agencies that's running the show today. That's the war I'm going to wage as your next president. Not some pointless foreign war in Iraq 2.0. The war I'm waging is a war on our own shadow government here in the United States. 75% reduction in the number of federal bureaucrats by the end of my first term. Shutting down government agencies that should no longer exist. From the failed Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, to the ATF, to the CDC, to the U.S. Department of Education. We're not just tinkering around the edges anymore. We will get in there and shut them down. That is how you revive the integrity of a constitutional republic. These aren't slogans to me. We got clear plans to do it. The FBI, 35,000 employees. 20,000 of them are back office bureaucrats in the J. Edgar Hoover building. They're going home, finding honest work in the private sector. 15,000 of them are cops, agents on the front lines, good people. We're going to move them to the U.S. Marshals or to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network or to the DEA, much better on the front lines of child sex trafficking or the fentanyl epidemic in this country. That's how we're going to do this. The Department of Education. Do I want education to thrive in this country? Yes, I do. Give that $80 billion back to parents across this country. The small sliver that's used for vocational training, great. Move it to the Department of Labor. But we don't need a federal agency holding local schools hostage with their racial and gender ideologies. So it takes a president who, yes, has sharp elbows, comes in and breaks things. I'm not afraid to do that. And let's be honest, Trump brought that too. But it also takes a president, and I think I'm alone in bringing this, who has a deep understanding of the laws and the Constitution in this country. It's going to take both of those things to get this done. And you know what? If I can't work for you as your next president for more than 8 years, which I think is a good thing, then neither should those federal bureaucrats who are reporting into me either. 8-year term limits for the bureaucracy instead of those civil service protections. That's how you drain the swamp. What does it mean to have a constitutional republic that we believe in? That means elections we can trust. To make this happen, how do we get there? Single day voting on election day as a national holiday with paper ballots, government issued ID to match the voter file, and yes, English as the sole language that appears on a ballot. This is not controversial. This is common sense. See, these aren't black ideas or white ideas. These aren't even really Democrat ideas or Republican ideas. Not really. These are American ideals that we fought a revolution to secure in this country. And I believe deep in my heart that those ideals still exist. I'm running for president to revive them. It's on the back of our coins. Every one of them. You look in your wallet, maybe get some change at the bar before you go. What does it say on the back of it? E pluribus unum, which means from many, one. That's what we've lost in this country. We've celebrated our diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways we're really the same as Americans. And here's how we're going to get that back. It's going to be by all of us, not just me, all of us, starting to speak the truth in the open again. Say in public what you will say in private at the dinner table. Say it with a spine. Say it with conviction. Say it with respect. But part of respect is that you respect your neighbor enough to tell him what you actually think. That's what this campaign is about, actually. Speaking the truth, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Speaking the truth, not just to the Democrats on the other side, but to our own party when necessary, right here at home. I've been doing that in the debate stage. Doesn't always make me popular with the establishment in our party. That's okay. I don't report to them. I report to you. If you want somebody who's going to get in and shut down the deep state and speak truth to power, vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. I'm the only candidate in this race who can dare to touch certain issues, like the carbon dioxide capture pipeline that's working its way across the northern and western parts of the state, unconstitutionally using eminent domain to take land from farmers in the state, violating private property rights. Why am I the only candidate who can actually touch that issue, or to tell you that I will pardon peaceful January 6th protesters on my first day in office because that's the right thing to do, to stand for the rule of law in this country? Or to tell you that the climate change agenda is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate. and everything to do with China. Here's why. Everyone else is a pawn on a chessboard. I refuse to be some donor's circus monkey. That's what it's going to take. The things I'm saying, they're controversial, not because they are false, but because they're true. That God is real. That there are two genders. Never thought I'd have to say that one. That fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. That reverse racism is racism. That an open border is not a border. That parents determine the education of their children. That the nuclear family is still the greatest form of governance known to mankind. That capitalism is not a bad word. It is still the best system to lift us up from poverty. Not crony capitalism, but real capitalism. That there are 3 branches of government in the United States, not 4. And that the U.S. Constitution is the strongest and greatest guarantor of freedom in human history. That is the truth. We fight for the truth. We stand up for the truth. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about. And that is what we are going to revive to save this great country. Thank you for coming out today, guys. God bless you and your families. May God bless our great country. We will not stop until we get this job done. I want to practice what we preach. Let's open this up. I'm going to sit across the table from Xi Jinping. I'll sit across the table from our hard questions from our own voters. So give me the hard ones.
Yes, sir. Ethanol production is
yes.
Very important in our state. What is your position on ethanol?
Yes. So 2 key points here. One is ethanol, like the production of anything that supports energy self-sufficiency and food self-sufficiency in this country, which is not ethanol but other form of farming, is vital to our national security. And so here's why I favor, does anybody know what I'm talking about if I say the renewable fuel standard? Is that familiar? Okay. The reason I favor the RFS is we don't have consumer choice at the pump. That'd be the best solution. I love market solutions. We need consumer choice at the pump. We don't have that because of oil industry lobbying and special interests for years. So what we know is that people choose a higher blend when they're given the choice. Look at Wichita or other places. So the renewable fuel standard is the next best alternative. That's why I support it, which isn't just because I love Iowa farmers. You have presidential candidates that will come here every 4 years. Suddenly they rediscover their love for Iowa farmers for about 2 months. It is a pro-market justification, actually. That's why I come out on the side of it. But I have a really important second point to make here. They're trying to trick you to say that if you support ethanol, you have to support this carbon capture pipeline. These are 2 different issues. I don't think we should make ethanol producers apologize for emitting carbon dioxide. In fact, there's good evidence, a lot of farmers will tell you, the highest yield is often in the areas around an ethanol plant because carbon dioxide is plant food. That is actually the source of carbon capture. So this is a form of crony capitalism where they're using the carbon capture to put into a pipeline to seize the land of farmers using eminent domain when those farmers don't want to at a price they don't like. Say that to hell with you, we get to use your private property anyway to bury carbon dioxide in the ground, which in many cases has resulted in risk. Look at Mississippi, they had a rupture, sent a bunch of people to the hospital. So that's a different issue, so don't let them trick you on that. Ethanol, yes, stand for it, stand for farmers, stand for energy self-sufficiency. Energy security is national security, and so is food security in this country. But don't let them tie that to these other climate agendas that they're trying to dupe you with. And I think it takes a president who knows the difference to be able to cut through that. Great question. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Young man right there. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
21.
21. Proud of you. We're doing it for your generation. You in college? You got a job? Or
I work at a full-time job here in town.
Nice. What do you do?
In college. I'm a graphic designer, web designer.
Awesome.
So I do all kinds of digital marketing stuff.
Great. Talents I don't have. I'm keep it up.
Thank you first for coming to Fort Dodge. I have two things. One, I produce a podcast in town as part of my job, and it's a group of local entrepreneurs, and they wanted me to extend an invitation to you to be on the podcast.
Tell them thank you. I love entrepreneurs, and we're going 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every night, but we will, at some point, it'll be a question of when. How about that?
All right. And
How about that?
I can give this to you. It's got
Good.
information. So my question is, what do you say to the voters who look at you and say, either one, you're too young, because I'm an undecided voter. I haven't
Fair enough.
chosen to vote for yet. When I look at former President Trump, Ron DeSantis, or you, and I look at and say, well, he's young, or also unproven.
Yep.
As a young, what do you say to them?
Yeah, I think these are fair questions to ask, right? You got to get to know every person to what the merits they bring. So if you need somebody who's been in government before, I'm not the guy. I believe not having been in government is going to be my biggest competitive advantage. So I've taken on bureaucracies my entire life, and I win. Okay, and so I usually don't in my speeches. I like to talk about the vision and less boasting about myself, but I'm asking you to elect a president, and you're asking me the question, so I'm going to be straight with you. I'm 38 years old. My parents came to this country with no money. I took on the bureaucracy of Big Pharma, developing medicines they refused to develop because Big Pharma plays a rigged game. Got 5 medicines approved and a fraction of the cost it would have taken Big Pharma to do it. One of them is a life-saving therapy in kids. That's a multi-billion-dollar company I built from scratch in a matter of years. I then built the leading asset management firm pushing back on ESG against the likes of BlackRock. Built it, crossed $1 billion in assets under management in the first year, twice as fast as it took JP Morgan to get the same place. And that put the ESG, for those of you who know what that is, it's this toxic movement that's trying to use your money to advance political agendas, led the way in putting that movement on its back foot. I'm the person in America who did that. So I've tried to drive change as an entrepreneur, but I think it's going to take an entrepreneur to come in and tackle the biggest bureaucracy of all. That's the federal bureaucracy, which is the source of our economic stagnation and the source of corruption, even the source of the poisoning of our justice system. If somebody else were going to have fixed that, we wouldn't be where we are. The old generation of politicians, thinking about your generation, we sent people your age to go die in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, 20 years later, what do you see? The Taliban is still in charge. Iraq is a more broken country, vulnerable to Iranian incursion. So foreign policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. So whether it comes to domestic policy and taking on the deep state or foreign policy with a fresh vision, I think it's going to take fresh legs. I think it's going to take somebody from the next generation. You have about $200,000 in national debt on your shoulders that you didn't know you had, that you didn't sign up for. Certainly, that's wrong. Well, you might want to pick somebody who's not going to be dead and gone by the time that comes due for you. Right? And so my view is there's a reason why those revivals, I mentioned Thomas Jefferson earlier. He was a young man by comparison. He was between your age and my age when he wrote the Declaration of Independence, for God's sakes. I think it is going to take somebody whose best days in life are still yet ahead. And I don't take that for granted, but I hope they are. I take no new day for granted. Every day is a blessing, and we make the most of the day that God gives us to live. But I think it's going to take somebody whose best days in life are hopefully still ahead to see a country whose best days can still be ahead as well. I believe that. We're reaching the next generation at a scale we haven't seen. 40% of our donors are first-time ever donors to the GOP. That's 2% for a normal Republican candidate. So if you make me your nominee, I can do something that the others can't. I will deliver you a landslide by bringing, hopefully, your generation along with us in this movement. And so, yes, I think experience is not the same thing as wisdom. Experience is not the same thing as vision. I think, the kind of experience that we need. Somebody who's been an entrepreneur, challenged bureaucracies, taken on tasks that people told me I couldn't accomplish, and then achieved that at a scale that ultimately accomplishes something positive nobody imagined was possible. Let's do that in the federal government. That's what I'm ready to do. And 8 years in, you know what? My older son won't even yet be in high school. That's what gives me my purpose. That's the inheritance we actually want to give our kids. More important than green pieces of paper is that country that we grew up in. And I want to be here to see it. And so know that that's my motivation. That's what guides me. And I think that that's what allows me to say we're not just running from something, we're running to something. And I think it takes the next generation to do that. So thank you, young man. I appreciate the question. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot. We'll go back there. Thank you.
I just want to add that at 76 years old, I know that you get tired. And I want somebody who's not going to be too tired to fight the battle.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What's your name, ma'am?
I'll tell you exactly.
I love your outfit. What is it? I love your outfit.
Red, white, blue, Christmas.
I love that. Red, white, and blue. I noticed that. What was your name, you said?
Diane.
Diane. Thank you, Diane. That means a lot to me. And I will say that we're going to have to, I can see it in you, in the vitality. You could be advanced in years and still bring an energetic spirit. And there's plenty of people in my age that are also deflated. But I do think it is going to take someone who unlocks that inner animal spirit in our country. I mean, our inner animal spirit, it has been domesticated. It has been tamed. It has been whipped by this new culture that teaches us to penalize excellence and celebrate victimhood. Right, our culture of excellence, it has leapt oceans to lift up places like China, while their culture of victimhood has come all the way back to hold us down. When we rallied behind the cry to make America great again, I don't think we just hungered for a single man. I think we hungered for the unapologetic pursuit of excellence in this country. That's what it means to be America. We need to unleash that founding spirit from Jefferson to Adams to George Washington to Alexander Hamilton. We are the unafraid. We're the pioneers. We're the explorers, the people who would not be stopped from achieving the maximum of our potential. Every person in this room has your own God-given gifts, your own God-given potential. We have different gifts. We're not all the same. That'd be boring. But we each have our own unique God-given gifts. And this is the country that allows you to achieve the maximum of your God-given potential without anybody standing in your way. That's true merit. That's what we need to revive in this country. And I do think it's going to take, on one hand, an outsider. Somebody coming in with sharp elbows, willing to break the glass, but also that outsider who understands the law and the Constitution. Those two things don't go together normally, actually. I've hired thousands of people, and you've got to know different people have different skills. They don't always go together. These two don't usually go together. Right? You have the academic law professor type over here. You have, someone like Trump that'll come in and break glass, and I've got some of that too. But you got to know why, or else they're going to dupe you. They duped Trump, actually. They told him you can't fire those employees, those civil servants, because they have civil service protections. Well, read the law. Those civil service protections do not apply to mass firings. Mass firings are absolutely what I am bringing to the D.C. bureaucracy. So it takes somebody who has both of those things. And in that sense, it's my faith that leads me to this journey. I believe we're each put here for a purpose. And we have a duty to realize that purpose. And so I believe God has given each of us those unique gifts. I looked myself in the mirror last year, Apoorv and I both did, to say, how are we going to use the gifts we've been given to do our maximum positive for this country? Is that a topic, by the way, people would be interested in hearing about at all? Is my faith? I sometimes get questions on that. Is that of interest to people? Thank you. It's important to me. It's what leads me to this journey. So I'm Hindu, just so you're all aware, which is different than traditional Christians who have been the usual, obviously background of someone running for U.S. president. I went to St. Xavier High School, which is a Christian school in Cincinnati. So I can tell you this with confidence when I say this, and I did well in religion class. So I can tell you this with confidence, is we share the same value set in common. My faith teaches me that God puts each of us here for a purpose, that he works through us, and that it's our moral duty to realize that purpose. And even though he works through us in different ways, we are still equal because God resides in each of us, because we're equal in the eyes of God. That's the heart of my faith. And now as an adult, I'm actually really much more grateful for the upbringing my parents gave me. I had what you would call not a traditional upbringing, but a very traditional upbringing. My parents taught us that family is the foundation. Marriage is sacred, that it's between a man and a woman, that divorce isn't just some option you select off a menu when things go wrong, that the good things in life involve a sacrifice, that adultery is wrong, that abstinence before marriage is the way to go, that it's not just about this life, it's about our eternal life. When I got to St. X High School, by the way, I was in 9th grade, 14 years old in scriptures class, read the 10 Commandments for the first time. What did they say? There's one true God. Don't take his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath. Honor your parents. Don't kill. Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Don't commit adultery. Don't covet. It didn't feel like I was reading those values for the first time. They are the values, the Judeo-Christian values that this country was founded on. So, to state the obvious, would I be the best person to spread Christianity through this country as your next president? Probably not. For a lot of reasons, among them that I don't think that's the job of the U.S. president. The job of the U.S. president is to swear an oath to the Constitution, including to stand for religious liberty, so that pastors actually are able to do their job freely. But will I be the president who stands for those values that I think we've forgotten and left behind in this country? You're darn right I will. I view that as my responsibility as a young person, actually, to bring it back to your question. I think as somebody who's 38 years old, it's my job and my ability to make faith and family and patriotism and hard work cool again in this country, actually. That's how we live our life as a family. That's the values we're passing on to our kids. 25% of kids today are born in a fatherless home. 8 times as likely to end up in jail or not to graduate from high school, or 10 times more likely to end up in poverty if you grow up in a fatherless household. Sometimes people look at the life we live now and they'll ask, did you grow up in privilege? No, I didn't grow up in economic privilege. But now I actually don't answer that. I resist it. Before I would, say, I didn't grow up in privilege. Actually, you know what? I did have privilege. 2 parents in the house with a focus on education and instilling in us a belief in God. And I don't think it's wrong to want every kid in this country to have that similar opportunity. Just because you grew up in a single-parent household doesn't mean you're doomed, and we should have a system that allows people to live their opportunity. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't root for the nuclear family and the revival of faith and belief in patriotism and in our country. That is an ultimate gift that I want every kid in this country to enjoy. And I think that's half the job of the next U.S. president, actually. It's not just about policy. We get a lot of questions about policy. This is actually interesting. We had a little bit more of some personal questions today. Usually I'm just taking questions on policy, right? What's your legal authority, which is good. What's your legal authority to shut down these agencies? Great, I'll tell you. We have the clearest plan to do that. What's your foreign policy? Avoid World War III. Declare independence from China. We haven't talked about that. I'm big on that. Secure our own homeland. Something we haven't done. That's half the job. But the other half of the job, I would even go so far as to argue the more important part of the job, where we are right now as a country, is to revive our national character, to answer who we are as Americans. I'm all in for the America First agenda. I believe just as a father, my moral duty is to my family. As your next president, my sole duty is to you, the citizens of this country, not any other one. But to put America first, we have to rediscover what America is. And I think that's going to take a president who is able to not just go through the motions, but also to, I'll say it this way. I want you to hold me to a high standard. I want you to be able to look your kids in the eye and tell them, I want you to grow up and be like him. Whoever that is in the White House, I want you to hold them to that standard. That's a standard we will hold ourselves to, and I think that's what's going to be required to revive our national character as well. Maybe I have time for one last, thank you very much. I'll take one last question if we have time for it. Yes, sir. I'll give you the final word.
First of all, I really like what you're saying. I think you have a great message.
I like your shirt. Alaska. Yeah. A lot of oil underneath there we need to bring out of the ground, and my friends in Alaska want to do that too. Anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, I like your message. I think
Absolutely.
Have election or campaign accountability.
Sure. So I'll give you one example of how you know that the things I'm promising you I intend to keep. The things I'm telling you I'm going to do, I don't require Congress for permission or for forgiveness. That's where presidents go awry. I would love to tell you about my plan to have a 12% flat tax across this country, which I do. Plan to reform health care in this country to bring down costs, which we'll get to. And I'm confident I'm going to be the most likely president to achieve a lot of that legislative agenda. There's a reason I don't lead with that on the campaign trail. Because I can't make a promise that's contingent on Congress. A contingent promise is not a promise. It's a wish. The promises I'm making are what the president can do. 75% reduction in the number of federal bureaucrats. Shutting down agencies in the executive branch, which, by the way, is the branch I will lead as your next president according to the Constitution. Using our military to secure our borders. Ending birthright citizenship for the kids of illegal migrants. That's what the law already says. The executive branch needs to enforce that. That much I get to do as your next president. And so I think that that's something, I'm glad you asked that, because there's a lot else that I'm not promising you that I'd love to get done. We'll get to that in year 2. And most presidents go in the wrong order. They actually promise you the legislative agenda. They don't achieve that. That deflates their bubble. Then they're not able to actually get the executive branch done either. I'm going in reverse. We're going to get the executive branch in order. That's where the deep state resides. If somebody works for you and you can't fire them, that means they don't work for you. It means you work for them. And yes, I think an entrepreneur understands that better than somebody who's come from government, actually. That's what it takes. And that's accountability to me. I mean, the promises I'm making you are the promises that I can keep. That's at least how you know I'm more serious about it than the people who usually spout off what Congress is or isn't going to do. I can't make a promise that's contingent on 500 other people. And you know what? If I don't do the basic things the next U.S. president deserves to do, get me the heck out of there in 2028. Okay, I think that I have no business running for president if the short list of things I'm telling you are going to get done. Shut down our deep state, get to 5% GDP growth, declare independence from communist China, keep us out of World War III by dismantling the Russia-China alliance. These are basic things I've laid out that are in the purview of the U.S. president to do. And the beauty of that is much of what we need to do now wasn't even given to us by Congress. It was given to us by that regulatory state, by that deep state, by the shadow government. And if we're able to shut that down and revive our constitutional republic, then, I'll close on this, then we don't have to anymore be that nation in decline. We're taught to believe right now that we're at the end of the ancient Roman Empire. All we have left is to fight over the scraps of some shrinking pie. Send over our money to some foreign country and foreign aid while cutting Social Security here. No. By the way, we're not making a dime of cuts to Social Security. We'll tackle the national debt without doing that. On my watch, here's how we pay down our national debt is bring our oil and gas out of the ground, sell it, buy down several trillion of our national debt. Don't take a dime from Social Security or Medicare. And if anything, your generation, we're going to talk about increasing the benefits, because if that goes in an investment account today, if I had done that 40 years ago, the average person collecting $1,800 a month in Social Security right now would be collecting $18,000 per month right now. So, again, it takes an entrepreneur to ask the question of, everyone else is talking about decreasing benefits for Americans. Why don't I talk about increasing it and fighting our national debt at the same time? That's America first. And if we embrace that, then we don't have to be ancient Rome anymore. I think as a nation right now, we're really a little bit, what's your name? Caleb, we're really a little bit like Caleb, actually. We're really a little young, actually, as a country. That's the way I see it. Going through our own version of adolescence. Figuring out who we're going to be when we grow up. And when you view it that way, it makes sense again, actually. Now, you go through that adolescence, you go through that identity crisis. You lose your way a little bit. You do some stupid things. We are as a country, that's for sure. But we are stronger for it when we get to our adulthood on the other side. So no, I don't think we have to be that nation in decline. I think we still can be a nation in our ascent. Maybe even the early stages of our ascent, actually. Maybe we're not even yet at base camp. On our way still to that shining city on a hill. That country where we will look our kids in the eye and mean it when we tell them that you get ahead in this country with your own hard work, with your own commitment, with your own dedication. And that you know what? You are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what we are running to. And with your help, and that's what I'm here to ask you for, with your help, that's what I believe we can revive to save this country on January 15th. The system isn't made for a guy like me to do this, coming in from the outside, breaking things when necessary from the next generation. It's not made for a guy like me to do this, but it can work because you all go first. I actually think we're going to win the Iowa caucus and send a shock to the system. Many of our supporters are actually young or even outside the Republican traditional caucus-going population, America First or Libertarian, sure. But people who are coming in that haven't been polled, I think we're going to deliver a shock on January 15th. And if I win the Iowa caucus, I'm your next president. So with your help, if I'm your next president, we get done the things we said we'd get done, and we revive our national character. I think we can do this, but that's not my choice, and it's not the establishment's choice. It's your choice. So I'm asking you to take 15 minutes of your time to save this country on January 15th. And I'm going to ask you for something more than that. I'm going to ask you for a donation. Not of your money, but of your time. Between now and then, our team is here. You fill out, my friend in the back, raise your hand. I like his shirt too. Our team is going to give you those cards. You already have them at your desk. Sign up with us. And if you take even 15 minutes of your time every week between now and then to be a precinct captain, that means just telling 100 people who aren't in this room what we talked about today and bring them to the caucus too. That's what I'm asking of you. And then you have the right to ask back of me to keep the promises that we made. And if you all do your part, my friend Sarah's here too. She'll also help you out with that. If you all do your part, I promise you that my wife Apurva and I and our family, we're going to do ours to make sure, not in some cheesy politician way, but in a true way, make sure that our country's best days are actually still ahead of us. Thank you for coming today, guys. God bless you and your families, and may God bless our United States of America. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. What's your name, brother? Matt Johnson. Matt, good to see you. You got time for a few pictures? Okay, 5 minutes? Good. Good to see you. Good to see you. What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah. It's good to be. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we love it. Come on up here. Come on up here. They'll take it for you, yeah. What's your name? Are you family?
No.
Hey, friends? You know each other or just met today?
Just
Oh, great.
today.
Great.
Met today.
You seemed like you guys had such...
Oh, you want, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Linda?
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Linda.
I'm very impressed with you.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I am a Trump girl, I'll tell you that.
Well, you're an America girl is probably my guess.
You know, but I like Trump. But you would be well, so far, a second choice. I
Okay,
hate to
thank
tell
you.
That.
Well,
But,
I would tell you, can I tell you two things
But
in
I wish
relation?
you could get the message, and I hear you on the radio a lot of times.
Thank you.
On Simon.
Oh, yeah, he's a good show.
Yeah. And I think he's pretty fair.
He's
You
fair.
know,
I think he's
you
a
know, but I
fair
wish
arbiter.
People could hear the whole message that you do have.
Thank you.
You know,
Well, can I ask you for a favor? I would say this is, I will take him as an advisor or a vice president. I mean, he's in his 80s.
Yeah.
I want his wisdom. But I think to actually take our movement to the next level,
But when
I think I can go further than
But
he
when
does.
you talk about, our children, I'm 76,
Yep.
but I don't want my grandchildren. I worry about
That's
them.
right. That's the generation I'm in this for.
Yes, and that's what I mean.
And I think
And
I can do that.
and he
I
has
can reach them.
grandchildren, too.
He
You
does,
know,
but I think we can
you know.
reach them in a way that he's not able
Well,
to.
maybe so.
That's what I believe.
But I hope if it doesn't work out
that's
this
okay.
time for you,
Thank
I hope
you.
you stay in politics.
Well, I appreciate that.
And,
With-
and hold them
I'm-
accountable, these people.
Keep your heart open for the next
And
30
I
days.
will.
I love Trump,
And
and
I'll
I'll honor
pray
his
for
legacy
him.
and pray for our family.
I will.
But if we do well in this Iowa caucus, that puts me in the best position to impact this
Yeah,
country.
but
So that's what I'll say.
But I'm very impressed with you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Spread the positive message for
I
our country.
will.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, Linda. Take care. Yes, I appreciate that. A lot.
Take too much of your time.
You serve in the
Corrections
corrections department?
officer, yeah.
Thank you for what you do, my man. I
My wife.
appreciate it.
I work at the
Katie.
school.
You do.
Elementary.
Thank you for both of you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys. Have you done the
Thank you very
caucus
much.
before?
Once, yep.
I'll ask you to come out this time.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We would appreciate that. Thank you for
Yeah.
being here. Have you done it before?
No.
It's the equivalent of 1 million people voting, and the impact that it actually has, because Iowa goes first. So. Sarah will tell you exactly where to go if you guys are interested. Thank you, guys.
grab
I
our
appreciate it.
stuff.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for answering my question. I
Appreciate
really
it.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And,
Caleb?
I think you won me over today.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We're doing it for your generation.
Yeah, I don't know what you
Yeah.
want.
We will
about
keep
the
this.
podcast, so.
Actually, yeah, we can give this to Caroline before we go. Thank you. Hey, if you're willing to get other young people activated, we would greatly appreciate that.
Okay.
That's what we want. Your generation, the more you speak up, the more our successful future is going to be. So, thank you,
Thank
buddy.
you. I appreciate it.
Wishing you all the best, Ken. Thank you.
How are you?
What's your name, man?
Max.
Max. Good to see you, Max. Thank you. Thanks for being here, brother.
Yeah,
It's our generation.
Yep.
You done the caucus before?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Proud of you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Keep
Hey,
spreading
good,
the message.
Good stuff.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff. I
Thank you,
appreciate
dude.
it.
We're going to save this country.
Yeah.
It's going
I
to take
hope
all
so.
of us.
I hope so.
Absolutely.
I've got
This is our chance to do
I've
it.
got a baby on the way and a 2-year-old, so it's for them.
Good for you,
right?
man. I feel it. I feel
Yeah,
it. That's
right
the
on.
same zip code for us.
Appreciate it.
We're doing it for them. Thank you.
Nice.
Good seeing you, my
Thank you.
man.
Nice
I
seeing
appreciate
you.
it. What's
Russ
your name?
Martin.
Russ.
Russ Martin.
Good to see you, Russ.
I pledge to support you, be
Thank
a precinct captain.
Oh, that's awesome.
And appreciate what you're saying about January 6th. You could add Ruby Ridge, which has
Yes.
Iowa ties. And
That's actually a
Randy
good point.
Weaver And Vicki Weaver, you go by her brother's house
Yeah.
out here, and what happened to them. You know, you
It's a
tie
good
that in
example of the
because
same politicized
FBI,
justice,
The
yep.
whole 3-letter agencies have been screwing us
It's
for
corrupt.
a long time. So appreciate what
Thanks.
you do.
We're gonna
speaking
change
the
that.
truth.
Thank you, my man.
Courage is inspiring.
I appreciate that. We're not going to stop till we get it done. I promise you that. Thank you. Hey, good to see you, my man. What's your name?
Larry.
Larry, good
Yes.
to see you, Larry. Thank you, Larry.
Good luck to you, and you can count
Hey,
on me.
spread the message.
Absolutely.
We're going to do this.
Yes, we
We're not
need
going to
it.
save this country. It's our job to do it. Good to see
Thank you for
What's your
coming.
name?
Todd McCubbin.
Todd?
I'm one of the owners here.
Oh, you
Thank
are?
for coming.
This place is awesome.
My brother Nate and I. So yeah, we
Oh,
started
really?
7 years
My
ago,
son
and
loved the ambiance here.
It's a
Should we
lot
get a
of fun.
picture, guys?
Yeah, you wanna jump
Thank
in the
you.
middle?
Thank you. Come on in.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Joyce.
Joyce. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Is your brother here too?
Yep,
Yeah.
he's back behind the bar.
Oh, is that him?
Bald
Okay.
guy. That's why it's called
good to
shiny
see you.
top.
Good
He
to
looks
see you.
like me.
I like that. Good brothers. That's good.
Yeah.
Good to see you. So spread the positive message.
I will.
I'll ask you. It's a beautiful place you guys have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have you done the Iowa caucus before?
I'm not actually.
Oh, this year.
Do it this year.
This year. It's a special opportunity. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Hey, good to see you.
My buddy Eric.
Yeah, how you doing, man? It's good to see you guys. You guys live around here?
Yeah, we own a tree service here.
Oh, you do? A tree service?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
I love that. Hey, have you done the Iowa caucus before?
Yeah.
You've done it before? You've done it before?
Done it, no.
Oh, you've never done it before? Hey, buddy. How you doing, monkey? Hey, if you sign up with us, we spread the message in the community. Spread the message, guys. We'll see you. Hey, say hi. They cut. They have he would love it, actually. Do you know they have a tree cutting service? They cut trees. He loves that. We went to the Christmas tree shopping this year. He loved that. Oh, you do? You would love that. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
How
What's your
you
name?
doing? Wayne.
Wayne. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I really like the way you're campaigning.
Thank you. Spread the message for us.
I
And
will.
I like the shirt here too
Oh,
for the
thanks. Yeah.
for this place.
My stepson.
Hey, good to see you, man. Good to see you again. Let's take one of the cars. Like we'll get both our kids together this time.
Sure, he's 3, right?
Yes, he's 3. He's about to be
2.
nice.
I'm about to be 4.
He's about to be 4 in February.
Getting big. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Good seeing you again. Thank you. Thank you, man. Yep. Thank you, guys. We'll just take these last quick ones. Hey, good to see you. How are you? Good to see you again. How you been?
Hey, buddy.
Good to see you again.
What's going on?
Hey, how are you? Doing well. Things are good. You guys want a picture?
Yeah, we'll take another one.
Yeah, I've had one. He and I have
I've
had
had a
one.
few.
I don't know if we've had one before, but come on in. Let's take one right here. Take a picture right here. Yeah. Thank you.
Bring your little. Hey, come here.
Karthik.
Karthik, come here. Stand here. How you doing? Hi. Let's take a picture.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, come on January 15th, and if you
sure.
spread that message, man, we're going to do this. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
I think so.
Sounds good.
Things are great, actually. I think we have a major surprise coming on the January 15th.
Keep the faith, man.
Thank you.
Had
You
a
too.
fight, yeah?
You too. You too.
Coming back
Absolutely. Yeah, Gavin, these are one of our long timers here. I love this guy. Saw him Fort Dodge first time I came. Yeah, it's good to see you again. Good to see you.
get a picture with you?
Yes, I'd love that. Thank you. Here, Caroline will take it
Are
right
you
now.
going to come in, my wife? Sorry.
Okay. Hi, we get our little man in here too, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Give us my wife, beautiful wife.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it,
Forward to
guys.
seeing the White House. Make
Well,
it.
with your help, we're going to do it. With your help, I believe we're going to do this. My red, white, and blue. I love that. Diane, good to see you.
Good to see you. I gotta have this.
Karthik, come on. You have to come in here. The truck. I think that the pickup truck has. Oh, she. Look at her outfit. She's got Santa.
I don't think I can lift him
Here.
up. That's another problem with being 76.
Karthik, look at Santa Claus on her outfit. All right, time to go. Time to go. Good seeing you, Diane. Hey, have you done the Iowa caucus before?
Yes.
Yeah. You spread the message in this community, and we're going to do our part. I promise you that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my man.